OpenAI is currently generating an astonishing $25 billion a year in revenue, yet next year the company is on track to lose $33 billion. CEO Sam Altman has acknowledged that they lose money even on their $200 a month Pro subscribers. In a typical business, your most active customers are your most profitable, but here, heavy usage is a financial liability. This imbalance comes down to the unit economics. A software engineer paying $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus can consume $30 of computing power, creating a $10 monthly loss. Multiplied across 900 million users, that individual deficit scales into a projected $14 billion infrastructure bill. The cost of a digital product is tied to two distinct phases. Think of model training as sending a chef to an elite culinary school. It is a massive, one-time investment required to teach the AI its core intelligence. Then comes inference. This is what happens every time a user asks a question. It is the equivalent of a chef firing up the stove and preparing a specific dish for a customer. Every query requires hardware to wake up, process data, and generate a unique response. Training happens once, but inference happens billions of times a week, creating a physical demand for sprawling data centers and immense electrical power. Because every single output incurs a fresh compute cost, OpenAI is locked in a cycle where the more popular their product becomes, the more cash they burn. Simply doubling the subscription price isn't an option. Rivals like Google and Anthropic are aggressively cutting prices, meaning if OpenAI raises its rates, users can switch to a competitor in seconds. The underlying issue is the structural architecture of the industry. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang describes the AI sector as a 5-layer cake: energy, chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. OpenAI only controls the models layer. They don't own the power plants, data centers, or processors. Chip suppliers operate at 75% margins, meaning a vast majority of OpenAI's money flows directly to hardware landlords. OpenAI is running a restaurant without owning the kitchen or the ovens. Profitability remains out of reach as long as they are renting the physical infrastructure. OpenAI began its pivot by releasing highly efficient software. Models like GPT 5.6 Sol match the intelligence of top-tier competitors while operating at roughly half the compute cost per task. They expanded this capability by embedding Codex tools into a unified workspace. This allows the AI to act as an automated developer, writing code and assembling entire software interfaces based on a single instruction. However, these multi-step autonomous tasks consume far more power than simple text queries. A single agentic job can require 100 times more compute than a standard question. If users transition from simple chats to running continuous software agents, the hardware requirements will scale massively. Without a reduction in physical processing costs, this software success would only accelerate a financial collapse. OpenAI addressed this physical bottleneck through a strategic partnership with Broadcom, led by CEO Hock Tan, to manufacture proprietary inference-only silicon. This custom processor, codenamed Jalapeno, is designed to match current industry standards while drastically reducing the cost of every token the model generates. By deploying their own chips, OpenAI can target their multi-billion-dollar inference bill directly, potentially cutting those costs in half. By building their own hardware, they stop paying high margins to third-party landlords. This vertical integration is the move that turns their massive user base from a liability into a profitable empire. The efficient models, agent apps, and custom chips function as a single, unified machine. The models attract the users, the agents drive the usage, and the chips ensure that usage generates a profit. This leads to an economic phenomenon known as Jevons paradox. Historically, whenever a resource becomes exponentially cheaper and more efficient, society does not use less of it. Consumption actually skyrockets. As OpenAI drives down the cost of compute, the global demand for AI agents will increase. This forces the company into a continuous cycle of engineering more efficient hardware to handle the resulting surge in traffic. This strategy pushes towards a future where the baseline cost of human reasoning and digital execution is driven as low as the hardware will allow. When the financial barrier between an idea and its execution begins to disappear, and the infinite canvas sits right in front of you, what exactly are you going to build for the world?